The Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey! We growing, we know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, boys and girls, and welcome to the Marcia Week Show. This is the national flag of Barbados. I just love I love when it flows into the wind, yeah? Yes. The national flag of Barbados. Aren't you proud of it? Yes, it's a national flag of Barbados. And you just heard the national anthem of Barbados. And tonight, as I said, we are coming to you live from Barbados, but we are going to be touching all over the Caribbean. Yes, we're going to touch on some issues all over. Tonight, we are going to talk about, we're asking hard questions behind the failures, behind the silence, behind the power. And we're going to talk about Guyana. We're going to ask some questions on the radar. You know, we have our on the radar. Those topics on the radar that we're watching, we're looking at. And so tonight we're going to be definitely looking at Guyana and Venezuela. What is happening with Guyana and Venezuela, and why is it that, it seems like CARICOM is a bit split on this? Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about that this evening. We're also going to talk about the Hantavirus. The Hantavirus, not the antivirus. The Hantavirus. I'm seeing reports that it has gone now to it's in Atlanta. Did you all see that? Oh my goodness. See, are they planning something else? So we're going to chat a little bit about that. And then we're going to go to Vaughan School. We're going to ask some hard questions over there at Vaughan. I did a post on my page, and I know right now they're just clutching their pearls, and and that's good, because I know after that post, Vaughan is going to be fixed. I love it. All right. And then we have with us the attorney Corey Beckles. Corey Beckles is with us this evening, and he is going to give us some clarity on who can practice law in Barbados, who you should allow to give you legal advice and to, we're going to look into that a bit and try to bring some balance to it, because you do need the power of attorneys, you do need the paralegals, you do need the Mackenzie friends, but we're going to put everything, and he's going to put it all in context. And of course, we're going to have Dr. Alleyne, who's going to join us this evening. And Dr. Alleyne, I'm going to ask some very, very important questions tonight, and that is concerning leadership. He's asking if this is elective if we have elective dictatorship in Barbados. Do we have elective dictatorship in Barbados? We're going to discuss that at length, and he's coming with the facts, and it's going to be really, really powerful. Going to ask everybody to like and share, and of course we're asking you to call in and to share your views on whatever the matter. We also have another matter that I have to sneak in somewhere or the other. St. Michael's School. It seems like it's all about schools right now. So St. Michael's School is up right there, and we're going to take a look at what is happening at St. Michael's School. It's very important that we do that, and we ask some important questions. Tonight it's hard questions we're asking tonight. Well, let me take the opportunity. It is an opportunity to welcome everybody who's joined. Judy, Jilks, good night. Monica, Bajan Boy, Teroni Hall. Hey, Jefferson, Andrea Critchlow, Mildred, Ben, and Mavis Lashley. Hey, some of you are at prayer in the mornings and you're back in the evenings again. My goodness. You love your country. Hey, Lori Bob. Yes, guys, like and share for me, Marcia Miller. Marcia Miller, like and share, please. I'm a big girl. You're back again. Sherry Johnson, Shirley. Somebody watched the show that we had last night. Somebody in the UK watched it today. And they called me back laughing. At first, I thought something was the matter. I thought they weren't feeling well. Guess what they were laughing about, Margaret? Hey, Margaret and Beverly. They were laughing about the nightgown that I said I used to wear when I went to bed. But my grandmother used to give me that nightgown to wear. I'm a big girl, right? And so they're laughing because I said I would wear her big undies and it reach up to my neck. And that was my nightgown. And so this person, hey, Suzanne Weeks, my namesake, Suzanne, they call me dying with laughter, about it. Hey, Shirley, thank you. Sylvia Rock. Hey, Cami, please give me a call. Sandra. Yes, Sandra. How are you, Sandra? After we spoke, I then went into a period where I wasn't doing 100%. Sandra, I would like to know what's happening with you, please. Yes, please. Hey, Judithan Clark, how are you feeling these days, Judithan? I'm really hoping you're feeling better. I really am hoping that. Calendar, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Well, folks, we're moving right ahead tonight. And tonight, I just want to remind you of Gospel Fest. Gospel Fest starts on May 24th. May 24th, and it goes up to May 31st. All right, that is Gospel Fest. And in particular, I want to remind us about our bus excursion. And that is we're going to Farley Hill. Anybody determine what they're cooking? What are we cooking? I know I have to bring festival, because if I don't bring any festival, I know Teroni and everybody gonna ship me back to Jamaica. You're all going to join in the group that says send her back to Jamaica. So I have to make the festivals. I have to make them and bring them for you. So at a minimum, that's what I'm bringing. I'm bringing festivals for sure. Okay, Judithan, I see your message. Let's start this week, Judithan. Yes. Okay, Sandra said, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just pausing because, when one of us hurt, all of us hurt. So Sandra is saying, remember her, she lost two of her children days apart. And so Sandra, she said she's holding on, but she didn't get the body as yet. So please don't forget to pray for Sandra Brewster, okay? Yeah? Yes. Dalton Spencer, how are you doing, my brother? So Dalton, we're going to Farley Hill. All right, we've got Farley Hill, the lovely Farley Hill, beautiful Farley Hill, and it's going to be on the 31st of May. What are you bringing, Jackie? What are you bringing? Lori, Bob, what you cooking? What we cooking? Somebody bringing soup? Soup will be a little difficult. It will be cold by then. Yes. Call me, Sandra. Call me tomorrow. Yeah. Saltfish. You know, saltfish expensive to buy saltfish. Everybody, I can't just bring for you, Judy. If I bring ackee and saltfish in Barbados, is so expensive. I have 2 trees there, but they don't have any ackees yet. I will try. I will try. Yeah. Yes. So Judy, to pray for Judith and Clark as well. She did a surgery and she's still having some problems with her knee. Okay. All right. So that's our excursion. I did not see anybody else tell me what they're bringing. I am bringing festivals for sure. I know that, Dave. Dave, you bringing ginger beer? No ginger beer, Dave? Dave normally do ginger beer and sweetbread. Okay. So we'll see what he brings. And nobody else telling me what they're bringing. Oh, boy. All right. Yes. All right. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is elevate. Everybody say elevate. Say elevate. Teroni, you're bringing cocoa. You're going to mix it in the mixer and you put it in the, you're going to mix it. All right. We are doing elevate. So if everybody say elevate, wherever you are, say elevate. And when you say elevate, I want you to do that with your hand. Elevate. All right. So we're elevating, folks. We're taking the conversation higher. We're moving from talking into action, and it's something that was started last year, right? And we are going, we elevate Bel-Air, St. Philip. Bel-Air, St. Philip is happening, and we're looking for teachers. Do you live in the St. Philip area? Or it could be Christchurch or St. George area. And you can give us 1 hour per week right here in St. Philip to help with children and young people who are having difficulty reading, those who need to be able to fill out an application form, write an application, a letter, a job letter, put their resume together. Don't we want to be an answer to those who are young people? You know, we could blame them all we want. We could say all the different things we want to say about them, about the government, about their parents, about whatever. But if there is something that we can do to help them and we refuse to do it, you know what? What's the point? We're just like everybody else, okay? So I would love if anybody who you can help, just you're retired, you have give us 1 hour for the week. And it is the aim to have the Elevate St. Michael starting again. All right. So we used to have it right there at the opposition office, and then so we're going to do it at Praise Academy of Dance. Okay. Praise Academy of Dance at Colima Rock is where we're going to hold Elevate. So Elevate St. Michael will be there, right there. And so we're asking everybody to support. If you want an Elevate, you might want an Elevate St. George. Get it going. It can be in your veranda, or it might be at a church. Go the same way we went and we spoke to the pastors at Jones Village Christian Mission. You can go ahead and you can speak to a church in your community, and let's elevate. Let's lift this country up. Let's elevate people. That's what we're doing. And our youth program on Wednesdays, we have a segment of our show that is dedicated to young people, and that is also called Elevate. We're going to a whole nother level, and nobody's doing it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. Okay. Very, very important. Yes. And let's run we have a short Maturo promo video for those of you to remember a Maturu. You want to donate to Maturu. Here is another project again coming out of us. I thank all of the loyal opposition who have been helping to feed these children in Maturo. But we're not going to just help in Kenya, and we don't help in Barbados. All right. So Dave, go right ahead, please. Thank you. While Dave is putting that up, yeah, let me just say here, folks, that we don't forget the date, and just a reminder of the date, the date for Gospel Fest. Are we ready? Go right ahead, please. Thank you. We're not getting any volume. Well, I'm not getting volume. All right, so we're going to move on. We'll probably try to add the end of the show, Dave, we because of time. Unfortunately, we have got to move on. So Matura, but you know what Matura is about? The children in Kenya, and we are helping them with the breakfast program. All right, so we're helping them with their breakfast program and feeding the children in Maturo. Once again, thanks to everybody who has been donating, everybody who's been helping. Thank you so very much. Some of you have made pledges. Remember your pledges. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, tonight, folks, I want us to go up to Vaughan School. Right? Let's go up to Vaughan School. How would you want to, you're sending your child to school. You send your child to school. The child is at school in the care of the school. When you walk away, when you send your child to school, you walk away, you are expecting that all will be well. You're expecting that if there's an emergency and you call the school, you'll be able to get somebody. Anybody out there would say that is a good that would be your expectation. Yeah. Yes. Well, at Vaughan School for 12 days, 12, almost 2 weeks. 14 days would be 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks. There have been no phone service and no internet service at Vaughan School. All right. And for some reason, I will also say this, that there have been some of the students who had to be transported last minute to Combermere. Okay? They have had to be transported to Combermere in order to take their CXC exam, the EDMT exam. Okay? And because there are some exams that require, technical exams like that one. And can you imagine, you were thinking you're going to be taking your exam at your school. Last minute, they had to rush and took the children to Combermere. Do you think that might have an impact on the children's performance? Possibly a little bit. Huh? Can you imagine if there's some emergency and for some reason cell phones can't be used and the principal needs to make a call out? What is going to happen? I say this is not acceptable. 12 days without internet or phones at Vaughan School. Not normal, and it is not acceptable. So I put a post up online, and I'm seeing everybody, they're losing their minds over it. Go ahead and lose your minds. I don't care what you do. Those of you who want to ship me back to Jamaica, go ahead and do it. You realize that it doesn't affect me. It really doesn't. All I need the authorities to do, and the service provider, all I need the authorities to do and the service provider is to fix the problem. Teachers cannot properly prepare their students. Administrative staff are at a standstill. What is the secretary supposed to do? How is she supposed to make her calls in the office? In Jamaica, we'll say this is not a patty shop, or in Trinidad, they would say this is not a roti shop you're running, Chad Blackman. It's 12, almost 2 weeks. Parents cannot contact the school. Zero communication with the outside, with formal communication with the outside world. Some people might have cell phones. And no update from the Ministry of Education up till about midday today. There was no update from the Ministry of Education of Barbados. Chad Blackman, are you the minister in charge or what? Are you even aware of what is happening at Vaughan? I want to believe that you don't know what is happening at Vaughan. People online saying, "Oh, well, is he in charge of flow?" Well, thank God he's not in charge of flow. Right now, the service of flow is sometimes terrible. Can you imagine if Chad Blackman was in charge of flow? And if he runs it the way he's running the Ministry of Education? No explanation from the service provider. Flow is just as bad. Students are now being sent at the last minute to Combermere, as I said before. How is that fair to our children? And those that are drinking the red Kool-Aid, because it has to do with their government, they cannot understand the impact of that on children and on parents, on the staff at the school. How do you disrupt students like this in one of the most important periods of their academic lives? This is CXC. What if there's an emergency? I say to Chad Blackman, the Minister of Education, I'm dealing with you. I'm dealing with you. The lack of communication up until midday today, as far as what we have heard, our research has told us there's been no contact from the Ministry of Education. And you can call me all the names you want to call me. Once those children and teachers at the Vaughan School have their internet and phone service, well, that's all that matters. You sending me back to Jamaica and all of the stuff you're saying online has no effect, because you know You know I'm not going anywhere, and I know I'm not going anywhere. Find something else to do. Fix the problem, please. Teacher effectiveness. Serious failure affecting parent confidence, student performance, and just the basic school operations. We're calling on the Ministry of Education. Please respond immediately to this situation. It is not acceptable. These are our children. The service provider, you need to explain what is happening. There needs to be urgent restoration of service. Can you believe you're going to work wherever you all work, right? Anybody out there where you work, okay? Where you work, and you go to work, and for almost 2 weeks there's no internet, and the boss says nothing. Does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's something that needs to be fixed, and I can guarantee you it will be fixed very, very soon. It will be fixed. It will be fixed. Yes, that is what is going to happen now. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit about let me talk about the hantavirus. Anybody's been watching the news? I'm just going to touch on it a little bit. I won't go into it a whole lot. Anybody out there been watching the news? I saw something this evening. I didn't get a chance to look at it properly. Did I read well that it's now in Atlanta? Did I read that it's now in Atlanta? Anybody? This is very serious. And you know, the most I'm going to say about this is that we are watching it. This is something that we are watching. I don't have much time to go into it. And you know, we need to understand, we need to find out the questions that we're asking tonight is, are we ready? Why are we ready? Remember, we're a tourism economy. We're a small island, and it's not for us to panic, right? But it's not any time for silence either. And you know, this red and ready group, never ready, never ready. So I have to ask the question: are we going to experience a tourism risk? What about our public health readiness? Are clinics prepared to identify the symptoms early? We know we don't have a proper healthcare system in Barbados. We know. That we know. And I haven't heard anything yet about it. Has anybody heard any public health advisory about it? Did we get any update from the Ministry of Health? Barbados, are we being proactive or reactive? We're asking hard questions tonight. What about the tourism stakeholders? Do they have a clear mandate or guidance on what to do? Or are we going to be left guessing? Two cruise ship passengers were tested positive for hantavirus arriving in Atlanta on a specially arranged flight on Monday. This is today. Two Georgia residents who are bound aboard the MV Ondios previously returned home and are being monitored by health officials. The newly arrived patients are being transported to Emory University Hospital in specially equipped ambulances similar to those used during the Ebola outbreak. Mm. Wow. Well, folks, I would say you do the reading up on it for yourself. We know what happened with COVID. You know what happened. Get the information. Don't wait on anybody. They're saying it's not a serious threat. Right. So BAMP was already, yeah. So thank God BAMP. Okay, they said something about it. Well, I am really hoping that we are preparing ourselves. Can you imagine? Because we don't have a proper hospital. Right now, we can't even take care of the people there. I mean, the people in the country, and they've added another 15,000 people into Barbados. You know, through this new immigration bill that they passed, and our healthcare system is just breaking. Yeah. So we're just mentioning it tonight. We're mentioning it tonight, and we are going to look at it a little later. Okay. I'm going to encourage everybody to like and share as we go into the next segment, which is very very important. The next segment is very very important, and we are talking about who is really practicing law in Barbados. And we have with us tonight Mr. Corey Beckles. But before he comes, I want you to go ahead and to like and share. If you have not liked, you have not shared as yet, this is the time for you to do so. Please, everybody, like and share, subscribe. Yes, but we need this. This is a very important segment of the show, and we need the information out. Well, folks, help me welcome Mr. Corey Beckles to the Marcia Week Show. Good night, Mr. Beckles.
Good night. Are you hearing me well?
Oh, yes, loud and clear, loud and
Okay.
clear. This is lovely.
Okay, great.
And your lighting is good. Everything is good. Yes, wonderful, sir. It's a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation.
Yes, sir. And because you know what, believe it or not, people were calling me today with questions because I announced it last night that you will be on the show, and so I know having you here is very very important for lots of people, lots of families. And so the big question is, who is really practicing law in Barbados? Only I have forgotten to send Dave this, but only yesterday, I think it was in yesterday's paper or in Friday's paper, there was a public statement that was made by the Bar Association. Can you tell us about that statement?
Well, I heard about this statement. I saw a publication concerning the statement on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe there was also a publication about it, I believe either early up in the week or last week.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a publication about the issue concerning persons who are not attorneys, but the feeling is, and this is based on what I saw. The feeling is that these persons should not be doing what they're doing, and it seems that these persons are offering legal advice, advising persons who may have legal issues. And I saw the publication from the bar, the notice. I believe is a notice. So I saw the notice from the Bar Association. They named 3 individuals.
Yes, we're gonna put it up soon. We're gonna put it up.
And I also saw the response in today's newspaper. Now, this issue is a very important issue.
Yes.
In Barbados, any person who is approaching the court for any contentious matter is referred to as a litigant. Now, that litigant has the opportunity, has the right to retain the services of an attorney at law.
Yes.
And that attorney at law will represent them in court for however long the court matter continues. But that litigant can also represent themselves. And I'm certain you have heard of persons who they feel comfortable representing themselves.
Yes.
In fact, persons represent themselves not only in civil matters, but they also represent themselves in criminal matters. Now, when a person represents themselves, then it puts the court in a position and puts the judge in a position where the judge now has to ensure that that person is not unfeared. I'm going to use the Bayesian term, unfeared.
Yeah.
And because that person now is up against maybe another attorney at law who's representing the other side in a criminal matter, that person who's representing themselves is against the prosecutor. And the prosecutor is a trained attorney at law. So now the court now has to step in and make sure that there is a fairness within the process, whereby that person who is representing themselves are not disadvantaged or unduly disadvantaged. Now, when it comes now to the litigant in person, now remember, I start off with the fact that the litigant in person has a right to represent themselves.
Yes.
But the litigant in person also has a right to get advice.
Yes.
To seek advice.
To seek advice, yes.
Now, they can seek advice they may do their own research, legal research online. They may even speak to other attorneys at law. But it also seems that the litigant in person may also speak to paralegals. They may speak to individuals who may have a degree in law. Now, the person may not necessarily be an attorney at law, but they have gone through some sort of legal training. And that person who has gone through that legal training is giving the litigant advice and telling the litigant what they should do, what they should not do. And it may even give them some pointers as relates to the documents, how they should file their documents, how they should prepare their documents. Now, the issue that we are faced with here in Barbados right now is how far can that litigant now go as it relates to legal advice? The person that may not necessarily be an attorney at law, should the litigant rely on the information that is coming from the paralegal, that is coming from the person who may have a legal degree? How far should they rely on that?
Or the power of attorney or the...
Yes, and power of attorney is another issue that I will get to shortly. But in this case, the litigant is just obtaining advice.
Yes.
They're not giving instructions to anyone to do anything on their behalf. But that is where the power of attorney comes in.
Yes, okay, got you.
At this stage, we're just advice stage.
Advice stage, understood, thank you.
Right, and the person who is giving the advice, who may not necessarily be an attorney at law, that individual must tell the litigant, and the litigant must know, I am not an attorney at law. I am giving you this advice based on my experience, whether having a law degree, my experience, whether going to community college and obtaining a paralegal certificate, as the case may be. And the litigant must always know who is giving them advice.
Yes.
Because if they're going to rely on that advice, they cannot tell the judge, well, sir or ma'am, I got advice from my friend who is a paralegal. And that is why I have found myself in this situation. Because the advice that you get or they are getting must be applied to the facts. It is okay to give general advice, but you now have to give advice based on what is the particular situation, what is particular issue. And that is where legal training comes in. When we go to law school teaches us how to apply the law to the facts. and apply the law to the facts to any situation whatsoever. That's where legal training comes in, right? But that is the advice stage. Now, there are some litigants who may want another person to represent them in court, or may want another person to represent them they may want a person to write a letter on their behalf. That person may not be an attorney at law, but they are authorizing that person to do something on their behalf. And we know that we have power attorneys and a person who has given power to that other individual who is now an attorney. That attorney now, not attorney at law, that attorney can represent that person.
Explain what you just said. You said not attorney at law.
Right. So the attorneys at law, and then the attorneys. So when you have a power of attorney, when let me say I'm going to use myself as an example. If I give power of attorney to my friend, that my friend now becomes my attorney, not my attorney at law. Attorney at law is a different title altogether. And my attorney has, based on the document itself, because there are different power of attorneys. There's a general power of attorney and there's a specific power of attorney.
Okay.
A general power of attorney gives the attorney, the person who is receiving the power, general authority over all of your affairs.
Right, I got you.
A specific power of attorney now is for giving a person or authorizing a person to manage a specific aspect of your life.
Yes.
And that specific aspect could be financial, going to the bank and withdrawing money. It could be speaking or communicating with a government office on their behalf, but it is only a specific power. It is not a general power. Now, when we go now to the topic at hand, a person can give power to another individual to represent them in legal matters.
Yes.
That person is not necessarily, the person who is receiving the power is not necessarily an attorney at law, but they are acting as if they are the litigant in person. Whoever receives the power is acting like if they are the litigant themselves.
Yes.
Because the litigant now is saying, I have given legal authority to this individual to act on my behalf in my legal matter.
Yes.
And that power extends to actually retaining an attorney at law. So the same thing that the litigant can do, when the litigant gives power of attorney, their attorney now can get advice from an attorney, can retain an attorney, and they can also represent the litigant.
They are the litigant, basically.
Yeah, they are the litigant. They're just they're basically in the shoes of the litigant in person.
Yes.
And that is where the power of attorney is, well, for lack of a better term, is so powerful. It is literally a powerful document. It gives another individual the same power, the same rights as the person who is given the power.
Yes.
So once there's a power of attorney present, the court must acknowledge the attorney, not the attorney at law. We haven't got it yet. We will deal with the attorney at law shortly.
Yes.
But once there's a power of attorney, that person is in the shoes. They're going to act just like if they were or they are the same litigant in person. And that means they can go and speak to whomever. The same things that the litigant can do, their attorney can do. And when it comes now to approaching the courts, when it comes to even approaching the registries, the registry of the Supreme Court, as long as that individual has power under a power of attorney, under a registered power of attorney, that person can approach the courts on behalf of another individual. And that really is the foundation for where I want to lead the discussion. And the foundation really is the litigant giving power to another individual. And whatever that litigant can do, the person whom they have given that power to can do the same thing. That is the foundation for our discussion. And when it comes down to the legal matters now, the courts will recognize the power of attorney.
Yes.
Because it is a legal document.
Yes.
And they will recognize the attorney that has received the power from the litigant.
Yes.
I'm going to stop here to see if there's any questions. I've said a lot already.
Yes. Okay, I'm not seeing any valid questions at the moment. So guys, you can. Well, I have a question, but I'll wait until the end to ask it. So continue, please. There are no valid questions.
Right. Yeah, I think I saw a question. If it is the same thing when you give persons the authority to write checks and make withdrawals on your behalf.
Okay.
Yes, it is the same thing. But it is that power or that authority is contained within the legal document. I know there may be situations where informally a person may give power to their next of kin. They may give power to a family member to do certain things on their behalf. Mm-hmm. But the power of attorney really is the legal means by which you can give power to another person to do the same thing that you yourself can do. Now, the power of attorney, quickly, the power of attorney in Barbados is only valid if the person who is given the power is in their right mind and not suffering from any mental deficiency. That is important. The person who is given the power must have their mental faculties must be sufficient to give the power. Yes. You cannot give power when you are suffering from any mental deficiency, such as dementia, Alzheimer's disease, as the case may be. And if you have given a power of attorney when you were in good mental health, and unfortunately you have your mental state has become deficient, that power of attorney is no longer valid.
Yes, I have a question here. It says, Mr. Beckles, can a person take back power of attorney and give it to someone else?
Yes, and that is called revocation, revoking. So you can revoke the power of attorney and you can give power to someone else.
Yes, okay.
You can also give power to more than one individual.
Oh, okay. You can give power because you have specific things, you know, that
yes,
you might.
yes.
I see.
And that actually is a very important point. So you can have a power of attorney. You can give power of attorney, a specific power of attorney to one person and give another specific power of attorney to another individual because they're individuals who may be better suited to manage certain aspects of a person's life.
Yes.
So the power of attorney is not just a powerful document. It's a flexible document, but it comes down to whether or not the person given the power is mentally, their mental health is sound.
Somebody says here, good night. If you let me only say, if you give power of attorney to someone, does that diminish your own power? And what is the difference between that and an executor?
Right. Yeah, very good question. No, you do not lose your power. You do not lose your power. So the person who gives the power of attorney still maintains or retains their power. Now, the issue is the conflict now. Conflict may arise when the attorney now is given instructions, and also the person who has given the power or the donor, what we call the donor now is also given instructions, and those instructions may conflict or come into conflict with each other. So one example, you have given power of attorney to, let me say, a friend, a family member to make withdrawals from your account. and they continue to withdraw at their leisure. They're not telling you what they're withdrawing. They're using that power of attorney to withdraw. And you go to the bank and you recognize that money is leaving your bank account on a consistent basis, and you have not told your attorney or instructed them to remove this money. You still maintain the power. You can tell the bank what to do with your account. You can tell the bank, well, please freeze my account for now. And you still maintain the power to revoke the power of attorney. But the conflict I was referring to is that you have given power to someone to manage your affairs in the best way possible.
Yes.
And now that individual is not doing that. They are managing your affairs probably for their own purposes. And that's where the conflict arises. So to just answer the question, you still maintain your power, but it is very important that you also make sure that your attorney is doing what is necessary.
Yes.
You have to check up on your attorney to see what they are doing.
Yes.
The power that you have given.
Power that you gave them. Hello, if you thank you so much, Mr.
But sorry, Marcica. The other part of the question was, what is the difference between a power of attorney and an executor?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, that was the other. So the executor now is the person who has been named in a last will and testament as the person who will ensure that whatever is contained in the will is carried out. So the responsibility of the executor is to carry out the wishes of the deceased individual and carry out their wishes according to what is written in the will. And the executor derives their power from the will itself. So it is a similar kind of power. The executor does have wide-ranging powers, but their power comes from the will itself. And the will must be probated. There are certain things that the executor can do before the will is probated. But their power comes from the will, and the will has to be probated for the executor to be able to wield the power according to the will. Last will.
In order. Wow. Listen, you've got to come back because I'm looking at the time. Do you believe it's 7:53? And we said
yes, the time flies.
My goodness, so we have about 5 more minutes. But this question here, and then I have a question and a comment. Okay, after, and then unfortunately, but you promised me you'll do a couple of these.
Yes, I'll be back as time permits.
Yes, really. Says, hello, if you do not want to be the power of attorney anymore, how do you officially withdraw?
Right, you will make sure that you communicate to the donor, the person who gave you the power, let them know that you no longer want to be an attorney. And they really should revoke, because the person who gives the power is the person who has to revoke the power. But what you can do, you can communicate your desire to withdraw to the donor,
to the for them,
and then you will not use the power anymore. So from your end,
there you go.
From your end, after you have communicated that you no longer want to proceed as the attorney, you just don't use the power of attorney any longer. Don't interact with any person that donor or the person who gave the power would have interacted with. No government department, no bank. You just cease all activities on behalf of the person who gave you the power.
I have a quick question for you. Oh my Lord, time is going. But someone called me today, and that person is a power of attorney.
Right.
And is saying that, well, I'm the power of attorney for a particular client, and I have chosen a lawyer, which they have the right to do that, right?
Right, yes.
But they feel that the lawyer is being dishonest to the litigant.
Yes.
Okay. And in that particular case, He's saying, what do I do? Because they, you know, I'm not, I'm in a position, I'm in this position here now. What do I do?
Well, that person has the power. Because the power of attorney is still valid.
Right.
And if you have a valid power of attorney, remember you're acting just like if you were the litigant themselves. So the power to appoint someone as a legal representative, you also have the power to disappoint.
Correct. Yeah. So
You have the power
they
to
could just
speak.
move on to another.
Yeah, and move on and move on. That is so the power is wide ranging. As long as you have a general power of attorney, you have wide ranging powers. And the power to appoint is on the other side, on the flip side. You also have the power to revoke.
Yeah, yeah. Well, guys, a lot of questions coming in there about wills and so on, and that is what Mr. Beckles specializes in. And we had a long discussion about that: estates, wills, probates, all of that. That's what he specializes in. But his time on here is limited. What I will say though, in all honesty, Mr. Beckles, is that I think people appreciate the role of the power of attorney and the role of the paralegal. I think generally people appreciate that, and thank God for the article that was put out by Maria Bradshaw in the paper to say what these gentlemen do, etc. The problem, and the Mackenzie friend as well, the problem comes in, Mr. Beckles, where from where I sit, to be honest, I have been getting complaints after complaints of people who believe that it, and they're the ones experiencing it,
Right.
and they believe that they have been wronged by these some of these persons. I'm not calling anybody's name,
Right.
but I'm saying that there's some real issues out there, and I think that's what the Barbados Bar Association is seeking to address.
Right.
But will they give any kind of is there any publication anywhere, just like you just explained all of that? Is the Barbados Bar Association going to spend any time or create any kind of publication to continue to educate the public on this? Because there are some people that are being taken advantage of.
Right. And you raise a very important point. Now, my personal opinion, I haven't seen anything from the Bar Association. I haven't seen any publications. But as you said, my personal opinion is that there needs to be comprehensive public education concerning this matter. We have litigants, we have individuals who may have court matters, and they may not necessarily know an attorney at law. They may not have any friends who are attorneys at law. And they have heard about attorneys at law. They have heard about all of the different issues surrounding attorneys at law, and they're scared. Let us be frank. There are persons who are afraid of speaking to an attorney. So the person who is not an attorney, they would rather speak with an individual who may have the knowledge, who may have some sort of legal knowledge. They're more comfortable speaking to them. And in my personal opinion is that we need to educate the public on how to relate to individuals who are not attorneys at law, but may have some legal knowledge, may have some legal experience. And the public needs to know how to deal with those kinds of relationships and how far to go. How far do you go when you are speaking to an individual who is not necessarily an attorney at law, but they may be advising you to go a particular direction and a particular legal direction? And I believe it is incumbent upon those who know, those who have the legal know-how, to let the public know this is as far as that relationship that you have with that individual should go.
Yes.
And that really is the point. How far can that relationship take you? Can that relationship take you to the court itself? Can that relationship take you just to the start of the court process? How far can that relationship take you without you being disadvantaged?
Yes.
And there needs to be comprehensive public education on this matter.
Yes, and I think that is what we both, as we discussed, you and I discussed off air, and we recognize that this is something that needs to happen, and that's the attempt that we're trying to do here on the Marcia Week Show. So as long as Corey is available, I will have this platform on a Monday. Generally on a Monday, we agree to Monday, but whenever he's available, we'll do our best. You do have a slot here, to come on, and cause there's so many questions. We're just touching the surface in the comment section. That
Yes, indeed.
Oh my Lord!
What you can do, Marcia, try to keep. I know their questions, their comments,
Yes.
their concerns. If you can keep some notes, some written note of those comments, and I will try my best to off air at some point in time to address them. And you can always communicate. I may not necessarily be here.
Yes.
But you can communicate to the individuals who would have raised the questions or raised the concerns.
Yes, that's a very good idea. I will try and send them to you. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Beckles. I know you're very busy. Thank you. And please give our best to your colleague who give us a little update, half a minute update on your colleague from your political party who was not, he was not in the best of health, and we were praying for him.
Yes, I am hoping that he's here. He's also watching. I'm hoping he's here. But he's getting some help, the necessary help. Of course, there's still a lot to do. And as soon as he's able to, I am certain he will update. And even if to pass on a message, he's going to update you on what is happening with his situation.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your concern.
Yes, thank you.
That is appreciated. I'm certain that's appreciated.
Yes, God bless. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye. Wow. Folks, that was very informative, I thought. And so I am hoping that this will be something that we can continue. As I said, from where I sit, this has been about 2 years now. We have been getting serious complaints with receipts of people that are not doing what they're supposed to do, overstepping their boundaries, the bounds of what they are to do. We have seen it. And I think those people might have reached out to the Bar Association. So that is, I don't know. I am just wondering, because that's from where I sit, that's where I get this, that's where I've gotten all of that information. And so I am hoping that those of you who are listening, please be careful in what you are doing. Be careful, ask a question, very important. And it is not just an issue. That's why the issue was brought to court. And therefore, the Barbados Bar Association has the right. It is their right. They need to manage the area, the legal area. They have a right to do it. Yeah, because I did step in on behalf of some of our viewers. It's just that I didn't come to you with it. I've been dealing with it off air for 2 years. And I feel I have a right to stand up for the viewers and for Barbadians. And I have been standing up for them, going to some of these people and say, make sure to give back the people their money. I've been doing that. So don't be quick to point a finger at the Bar Association that is trying to protect you. Are there bad attorneys out there? Yes, there are bad attorneys out there. And there are also some bad people representing themselves as whomever and giving legal advice. And also ripping off people. There are people who are doing that. Yeah. So we will not we're not going to, yes, thank you, Corey. We are not going to tell the Barbados Bar Association, you're not supposed to do that. You know, when I am telling you, you don't know, but I know. I know, and I've had to call people and say, pay back these people their money. Okay? So it is happening. Is everybody doing it? No. Is everybody who is representing people and are not lawyers doing, you know, the bogus stuff? No. But there are some people that are doing it. Yes? Yes. Thank you, Andrea. So you please don't, you need to know. Well, we need to also hold there are some dirty lawyers as well. And we're going to, as Corey comes on, you know, I'm going to balance it up. All right. But we got to tell the truth as well. All right. Good. All right. Let's go on to the Carifesta files. I told you that we're going to deal with that tonight. And I'm going to try my best to go through as much because I've got to get in the St. Michael's School. I must do that. Very, very important. I wanted to hang with me. Have you shared? Have you liked yet? Have you shared? Have you shared in your WhatsApp group? We're depending on you to share in your WhatsApp groups. Yes? We're depending on you to like and to share. Okay? We're depending on you for that. So we need you to do that. Okay? All right. So let's talk about Carifesta files. Now, we've asked before what was built. We've asked who paid, but tonight we're going to go a bit deeper. Right? Tonight we are going to go a little deeper into the Carifesta file. Right? Just trying to find my place here. Have you liked and shared? Anybody? Everybody, please do that as quickly as possible. So we asked about the $35.7 million. Don't forget it, you know. Don't forget that number because, you know, they said we're a 9-day wonder and they thought we were going to forget all about this right now, right? Where did the $35.7 million go? Who paid for what? What was covered under the $5.8 million? Remember that was for the accommodation and transportation. Remember that? Yeah, $5.8 million. And then we talked about the $14.1 million. And that was under institutional expenditure. But tonight, as I said, we're going deeper. The money did not just disappear. It went somewhere, right? And so what we are trying to do is to follow the contracts. I don't want you to get tired of talking about Carifesta because this is so important. You know what it is for a budget to balloon over 800%? May you never forget $35.7 million. Never. By the time we're finished, you're going to know all of the line items. You're going to know all the numbers. You're going to hear about the names. So this $4.1 million was supposed to be spent on props, on costumes, electrical installations. We're just reviewing fixtures, furniture, booths, village build out, and it appears that it was supposed to also include the auditorium that is being built. But the truth is that while they are spitting out these these labels to us, props and the costumes, we're not getting explanations. And I don't know if we will ever get explanation knowing how opaque this government is. And you're going to hear more about that when Dr. Alleyne comes on, talking to us about this kind of, dictatorship possibly that we're living under. But when you translate what they're saying into real world spending, what we're looking at is we're looking at real contracts. You're thinking about construction and site preparations, okay? Think with me, because they're saying this is all institutional, right? Temporary structures, the making of the booths, the electrical lighting, installing lighting in the different booths, right? The flooring systems for the different booths, because they said they made 24 booths, right? The equipment rental, and all of the logistics or the infrastructure for this event, the event logistics. And just, I mean, it's so varied. So we already know that this is not one contract. We're talking here about dozens of contracts. Stay with me, Barbados. I want us to not, because we have a way where we like to move on to things, to other things too quickly. We drop things. And that's what they're hoping that we will do that. So I want you to wake you up tonight. Wake up, wake up, wake up. We're talking about dozens of contracts. Now, let's start with the theater. The chicken coop, as AKA chicken coop. They're in Newton. Who built the performing arts structure? The last time I gave you a name, remember, I gave you a name. That person was the architect, Sir David Ajay, from Ajay Associates. He's a Ghanaian. We found out that the structural engineer, you think the structural engineer is from Barbados? How many of you believe that the structural engineer is from Barbados? No, not from Barbados. So the architect is not from Barbados. The structural engineer is not from Barbados. But remember, $14.1 million, right, was spent. Of your taxpayer money was spent, whether they borrow it or whatever, you have got to pay for it, or your children. This structural engineer or / the timber contractor, it's called Structure Craft, and they're from Canada. Canada. When you're talking to people, let them know you know what is going on. It's not hearsay, because you can go and you can research it for yourself. Okay? And then you have the general contractor, Empire. I have not yet found out who is Empire. If you are out there, if you can help me find that out, I would be very, very grateful. That full identity of that company is still unclear. Can anybody out there know who is Empire? Anybody know Empire? Is that a Barbadian company? Who are they? Right? We're doing this together now. We're investigating this. We are investigating this together. Now, guess who is a client? Remember that this has been done under the Ministry of Culture, right? Guess who is a client, folks? So when we did all the search, who is a client here? Who is a client that is engaging these contractors? Not the Ministry of Culture. Not the Ministry of Culture. The Barbados Investment Inc. Remember, this was not a small local stage. This involved international architects, international engineering, specialized timber systems, which I'm going to tell you about that very soon. So we have to ask, how were these companies selected? How did they get to this company, Ajay Associates from Ghana, Structure Craft from Canada, Empire? Who were these contracts tendered? We're asking the Prime Minister, who is a minister, the true Minister of Culture, were these contracts tendered? How were these companies selected? And the very big question, were Barbadians firm given the opportunity, man? Minister of Culture, Mia Motley, were Barbadians firms given the opportunity? You said big things must come through you. So we're talking to you. We're moving all of those people out the way, and we're speaking directly to the Prime Minister of Barbados. If $14.1 million was spent, who got the contracts and how did they get them? But let's talk about the village, okay, and the booths. So remember, Waterford Village, right there, right near the Combermere School. They said it's a 45,000 square foot cultural hub, right? And they had hundreds of booths, Grand Market, Caribbean Eat Street, and all of that, all right? And when they were finished decorating this tent, because it's a tent, it's a glorified tent with tiles on the floor. It was very beautiful, temporarily, until the tiles started to come up off the ground. And when the vendors started to call me and complain that rain was wetting them, well, they would have to be wet by the rain. It's a tent. And we've already established, there's no permanent stage there. There's no permanent seating at this cultural hub that they are boasting about. No fixed lighting is there. And equipment must be brought in. Flooring already deteriorating. We've done that already. We understand clearly. And we want Barbados to understand clearly that this is not a finished facility. It's a temporary shell that they are calling this asset that is left. Let's hope we don't have a hurricane this season. Now, these booths, that's part of this $14.1 million. According to what we see online, based on what's put out by the National Cultural Foundation, there were 24 food booths that were created. Okay? And they did some other vendor, and then they did hundreds of vendor booths. The question is, were these built or rented? You know, NCF and all those people that were part of the operation. Carol Roberts, you were the festival director or organizer or producer. Were these built or rented? And when the festival is over, were they dismantled? Where are they now? Hundreds of vendor booths and 24 food booths. Wouldn't you like to know where these are and if it's something that can be repurposed? Because if millions were spent on booths, where are the assets? Where are the assets? This is not just about the construction, folks. We're talking here about economic benefit. How much of this $14.1 million stayed in Barbados? Listen to me, guys. Share up the live. Share up the live, please. Somebody's saying the tent had no umbrellas. Folks, I wanted to share, and don't go to sleep on me, please, saying that, oh, we talk about Carifesta already. No, do not give up on this. This is very unusual, what has happened here, and we're not letting it go. We have 5 more episodes to do. So local versus foreign. Local contractors? No. Regional contractors? No. We have international firms. You and I know once you're dealing with international firms, what's going to happen? The money is going to leave the country. Yeah. Gone to Ghana and gone to Canada. Was this an investment in Barbados? Or an export of money? Gone. This is your government. Your government, red and ready, that you went and put them right back in. Even after Carifesta. You put them back in. We're still hearing workers are unpaid. They're calling me. Ancillary staff unpaid. Some small people are still waiting. I don't know for sure, but you really think the architect from Ghana is waiting and the structural engineer from Canada, that company is waiting? Millions spent. But the small people are still waiting, some of them. The question now is simple. Were contracts tendered? Were there direct awards? Somebody knows somebody and whisper in somebody's ear and somebody got a cut of something? Were emergency provisions used? We're dealing here with public money. So the public should demand that the contracts be published. Don't you agree? Do you agree? The country, the Barbadians should demand that the contracts be published. If we had an opposition in there, that is what they would be demanding. That the contracts be published. Publish the contractors. We want to see the payments. Because when you are gone out of office, we have to continue paying, and our children and grandchildren. Because this is not just about structures, it's about systems. It's about access. It is about who gets opportunity in this island, who gets paid. And over and over and over again, we're seeing that the little man, the small man, whatever you call them, we get the raw end of the deal. $14.1 million did not disappear. It went somewhere. And we deserve to know exactly where it went. Now, I will remind you of these international companies that the AJ Associates, it's being alleged based on what is on the internet, and someone else can bring some information to tell me that this has been resolved. But the Ghana National Cathedral Project, remember I told you that they were the ones contracted to do that project. Okay, and up until 2023, there are been allegations, about that project, that it's delayed, that there are lots of delays, cost escalation, and a lot of public scrutiny over the spending and governance of that, on that particular project in Ghana. People are concerned about the project progress. And I guarantee you, not necessarily because of them, but I guarantee you there is going to be a real issue with that project there in Newton. There is going to be a cost escalation. They're going to come for more money for it. Was due diligence used? This is a high cost project, you know. Was due diligence used? I'm sure they might be very talented. I've seen some of the other projects they've worked on. Beautiful. Did you do any risk management? Anybody research them and understand why were there such public outcry in Ghana concerning them and that particular project? And why is it that we needed to get a timber engineer from Canada? What kind of timber are we talking about? Huh? So apparently, let me give you this little piece here before we close. We close this segment. I found out that the timber that is being used is called glulam. I hope I'm using this. It's glued laminated timber. Right? So this particular company, they engineer mass timber, such as something called glulam, right? Glued laminated timber or cross laminated timber, which is CLT. But the question is, why did we have to use this kind of rare, you know, or this rare kind of timber that you have to get, you know, it has to be, you have to go to specialized and suppliers for, you know. I'm wondering why was that necessary? I don't know. Somebody need to tell me. Because one of the things that I found out about this, using this kind of timber, is that because it is specialized and you have limited suppliers of this kind of timber, one of the things I found out is that the lead times can be long in terms of months in order to get that particular type of timber, the material availability. When you have chosen to use this type of, you're dealing with supply, right? Because it's something that is manufactured overseas. And therefore, if you have an issue with supply, what is going to happen? The whole project could stall. And I am telling you, watch what you're going to see happen up there in Newton. And the truth about it is that kind of material is typically, and we have to say typically, because we don't have the information. They need to release it. We want to see the numbers, but typically it's more expensive upfront than the conventional concrete and steel. Okay. So what about the climate factors and all of that? I don't have the time to go into all of that. So this is something that I'm telling you, I'm not going to let it up. I'm not going to leave it out. Right? And so the question is not whether these firms are capable, it's a question of whether the right type of project, was chosen for the right context. Did we need that, that timber? Very important, and sometimes I tell you, we just love to show off. We love to show off, right? And so once again, will we see the delays like what happened in Ghana? Escalating costs, the audit concerns. It's not about the talent, right? And the question is, why didn't we use, could we not have used local people for this? Very interesting here. Somebody says here, this looks like something that a hurricane going to carry away. You want to see your part of this, because this make up part of the $14.1 million going to just blow away. Yeah. See, we don't have a public accounts committee in place. Yeah. Right. So the thing is this, we're not going to let up on this. They would like for us to forget about it, but we're not. Now, I have to stop here tonight. If you have any information out there about this, that, the construction of that theater, the village, any kind of construction, please, message me. Any information you have, any information you believe I need to know about Carifesta and the spending of the money, all the 35.7 million, I am asking you, please, we want to do this together as a team. We want to do it together. All right. So I need you to help me out with it, because they're everybody's tight-lipped. So if you find out a little something, I will not expose you. All right. I'm not going to expose you, but we want to know, the public want to know. We have 5 more episodes. All right. And we're definitely going to be staying on this. Well, Dr. Alleyne is on, and I saw somebody from after 7 say, I can't wait for Dr. Alleyne to come. All right. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to shut up now and bring Dr. Alleyne in, but I'm going to ask you to take half a minute and share now. Can you take half a minute and share before he comes? Come on. You said you're waiting for him to come. Share and like and share. Like and share. Like and share. Did you share yet? I know some of you don't want to share because you're worried that if you go and you share, you're going to miss out on, what is being said. All right. Somebody said, is he coming to play hardball? And we batting. Okay, here is Dr. Derrick Alleyne. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show again, sir.
Good night, Marcia, and your viewers, local and overseas. Thanks for having me again. I was listening for the last, I think, about 30 minutes, and I heard your lamentations about the lack of reporting on the whole Carifesta issue. I want to wish you and all of the Western Barbadians the best of luck in getting disclosure from this government. As we speak now, there has been no disclosure on the expenditure used to manage the Carifesta, the COVID-19 epidemic. We don't know what the follow-up costs have been, where the money went. We have no idea about the cost of vaccines. If there were tendering processes that allowed people to bid for the procurement of vaccines. We know of a scandal relating to one particular set of vaccines that ended up in the United States court system. But the overall management of the COVID experience, there has never been a report on the expenditure and the whole entire process of managing it. And while I am going to support you in your calls for declarations about the Carifesta exercise, I know that there's a history of this government of not reporting to the nation. All major contracts must be subjected to a tendering process. List of tenders, the amounts, all that information supposed to be public information because they are public contracts.
Yes.
Now, we should be able to scrutinize all of the processes because it's the expenditure of taxpayers' money. There's not a private tender for a company that building house blocks. This is the private tender. There's a public tender for the spending of public money.
Yes.
And this government has continued to ignore calls for disclosure. Now, I know that the matter of a particular vaccine ended up in the New York courts. And that apart, the determination to allow that particular company to offer a tender was outside the remit of the government of Barbados. But yet, that process was allowed to go, and Barbadians have remained mute and dumb about that entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
It is a symptom of the times in which we are living, and those perpetrators on all sides have been able to move smoothly on, but the public purse and public indebtedness continue to rise. Now, I didn't come to speak here, but I thought it was important that I follow up on your concerns because we should have an idea on every contract relating to Carifesta for every piece of expenditure above $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
A list of the tenders, the amounts tendered, the process, the award process, the completion of it, how much money was expended above the tendering, why it was expended, if it came in below the tender, what savings were made, what was done with the savings. All of those are issues that a public must demand that information is put in the public so that there's satisfaction that the money that we pay in taxes every week, every day, every week, every month are best utilized for the improvement of life of the citizens of Barbados. We are not getting that. And we have a media outside your program and one or two others who remain quiet. And I have to say, and apparently or appearing to be in collusion with this bad behavior. Because silence is no longer golden.
Mm-hmm.
Silence is collusion and acceptance of the malpractice of bad governance. And I am increasingly weary of where this country is going. And Barbadians can pretend that the government is their government. They can pretend that all is well. The evidence does not support those conclusions or those determinations. There is not a single day in my life that someone does not walk up to my garage or meet me on the street and ask me for assistance with some what he would consider insignificant need. Bread, biscuits, gasoline, a bottle of gas, rent, all kinds of things. Every day of my life, there's a request. But there's a pretense that things in Barbados have been proceeding well because the governing central bank says that we've had X amount of months growth, X amount of coverage, and X amount of foreign reserves and a bunch of rubbish that that do not redound to the life here in Barbados on the ground. Barbadians are suffering. And they're suffering because all of the money that this government has been able to draw off the backs of taxpayers, that money has been spent ill-advisedly, wickedly, and stupidly for short-term political benefit, and that the expenditure have not redound to the lives and prosperity of the majority of Bajans. And I don't care who say the evidence is on my side.
Agree, sir. And that falls actually right into what you're talking about tonight, elective dictatorship. You know, because if a government is overwhelmingly dominant in the parliament, Dr. Alleyne, who is truly holding it accountable on behalf of the people? Take it away, sir. Take it away.
Look, I have written a few short essays on the governance model that has emerged in Barbados. And I wrote, and I want Barbadans to listen to hear me very carefully. I sent a letter to the president of Barbados. President. And I raised issue with his declaration of the senators to serve Barbados. Senators serve Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
The president, by law, is responsible to appoint all the senators. 12 on the advice of the prime minister or the government in office. 7 in his own right, and 2 on the advice of the leader of the opposition. 2 on the advice of the leader of the opposition. I am a member of the executive of the Democratic Labour Party, and I have not been authorized to speak on behalf of the Democrat and speaking on my own right as a citizen of Barbados. But I'm putting my cards on the table. I'm as an executive member of the DSP. I am in a position to see correspondence coming to and from the party. And the president wrote to the DLP and tell him that he's invoking his right to ask the party that received the next highest number of votes to send nominees to serve as the official opposition. He asked the party to send 4 names, from which he will pick 2. And I contained in my letter to him that was a political exercise, that he has no right to select opposition senators. He has a right to appoint them, and that he cannot send a message to the political party and saying that because it got the second highest vote, that it must send 4 names for him to select 2. That is wrong. Ethically and morally and politically wrong. And I wrote him to that extent. Of course, he did not respond, but I took the letter to it's President House now, but what used to be Government House. I took the letter there myself and I delivered it. So I know he got it. But I objected to it, and I'm saying he brought the office of president into a political realm that he had no right so to do. He cannot select opposition senators. He can only confirm them, as the law allows him to do. And I made a political judgment now. I made a political judgment that the exercise was to ensure that Ralph Thorne, one of the nominees sent up by the DLP, would not serve in the Parliament of Barbados again. I made that assertion. And they said that was wrong. And it took the office of presidency into a realm it had no right entering into. And they made no apologies for that. That is one episode at that level. The second one is the election of the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
Here is a man who, for the last 6 or 7 years, represented the government as the Speaker representing the government in the constituency, St. Michael's Central. And for some political or other convenience, he determines that he is not returning to elective politics amidst a lot of confusion. One day he was running, the next day he was not running, then the next day he wasn't running, all kind of confusion. But the bottom line was that he did not contest the nomination. But as soon as the election is completed, he is elected by a government of 30 controlling the entire House of Assembly as an independent speaker. Which place in the world, other than Barbados under Mia Motley, would that be declared as independent? Where else? There is no place in the whole hemisphere, not even in the Soviet Union, would that be he be declared independent. He can never be independent. And the former leader of the opposition made that position very clear in Parliament. He said to him that we are friends. We shared a lot of time together, but I will never support you as an independent speaker because you can never be concerned, can be seen as an independent speaker. But this government contemptuously treats Barbadians as though they're dumb and as though they have no sense and that they're ignorant and that whatever is done to them is done for the interest of Barbados. It is not. It is done for the interest of Motley and her survival as the Prime Minister. It is not interest in what happens to Barbadians and Barbados. That has been the experience of all of us since Motley has been Prime Minister. But the 32 or 33% of the people who see red continue to flag Ms. Motley as some kind of savior. That is what hurts me. And I know that you had people who used to come on this program, and I would like to laud a couple of them, in particular Glenn Murray, for his stance he's taken in opposition to the behavior of the Prime Minister. I like to laud him for that. And I like to say I wish he would come back on and carry on his focus, because I think he is being a top strength on this program in making Barbadians aware of the environment in which they live. But I say this, and I wrote, and I sent the article to your academy on the heading, the direction of tyranny and despotism and dictatorship and so on. I think I sent to your office, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, that this country is in deep trouble, in deep trouble. And I sat down yesterday and I wrote the sequel to the parliamentary dictatorship messages, which really explain how we got to where we are today.
Yes.
And I sent that to you, I think, earlier today. I think it did. I may have not, but if I have not.
It's labeled Republicanism Without Restraint. Is it that one?
Republican without, no, this one is Motleyism and something.
No, I didn't get that one yet. Let me double check. But you go ahead. You keep going.
And this second one, I traced where this whole dictator authoritarian behavior started. And I went back as far as Tom Adams. I must tell you, I went back to that period. And I drew attention, and I'm going to publish the article in the social media tomorrow, because they don't get an opportunity to get anything going on local media, because once they see my name, and sometimes I put other people's names, but it still don't come. I got some good friends in the journalism fraternity, and I give them to them and ask them to see what they can do. But they never come. But that doesn't stop me from sending them in the social media.
Correct. Do what you have to do.
Right. And I sent it to I will send this one across the social media tomorrow.
Yes, I have it. I have it. Go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead. But you go right ahead. I'm not even going to interrupt you. You
Okay.
just do what you have to do. This is you. This is your time. You talk.
No, you
Right?
see, no, I used to work in the public service. And I worked at the community development department, I think from about 1979. I had been a voluntary community development, voluntary youth worker. And I was working in the private sector in the industrial development sector, a company called Sigma, and then another one called Applied Magnetic Limited. Both were out of Newton and the airport. And when those companies got into problems, I decided to go back to the public service because I had left in 1974 to do a diploma in youth and development. So I decided to go back to the public sector. Now I went to do hotel management that earlier in 1974. I went and did hotel management at the hospitality division, and then it was the Barbados Hotel School. But I went back in and I went to community development under the chief community development officer then was Mr. Gordon Walters.
Yes.
Who was father of Kenny and Arnie Walters, two outstanding Barbadians. Arnie was in the Senate and Kenny was the registrar at the University of the West Indies. But Gordon was the chief community development. He was the author of the paper that led to the development of a place called Youth Town, a youth center in Reed Street there in the city. He was also author of the paper that led to the formation and the implementation of the Vocational Training Board. Gordon Walters, he was the lead in those papers, a very outstanding social worker in Barbados. The school up in Charnock, somewhere, is named after him, the Gordon Walters Primary School.
Okay.
Yes, so he recruited me in about 1979 to come into his department. I was a volunteer in Deacon's Community Center. I used to volunteer my time around there.
So now I want you to look in the camera, right? So we can engage you, right? Because I know you.
Yeah. I was peeping at some notes.
Yeah.
So I was recruited by him as having been a volunteer to come in his department in 1979. I think 79, 78, 80, wrong there. But the point I'm making is then we had a period in Barbados when from 1963 or 64, the environment that was created by the change of government then led to a blooming and a blossoming of youth groups, guides, scouts. So much so that in Barbados in 1984, they had 125 youth groups registered at the Barbados Youth Council. And what way that was possible is that the government set up a department called the Community Development Division. First, I think the lady passed away now. She was at welfare. She was a senior welfare officer. And she went over to lead it. And then the same Gordon Wallace took over in about 60, 70, 69 around there. 6 years ago, he took over as the chief.
Yes.
Right. As the chief. And he opened up new vistas for development. Because at that time, community development was a tool being used by most developing countries to change the relationship between the citizens and government. It was to bring activities into the communities, to allow communities to build and to help and to develop activities that can build within the communities respect, values, trust, and so on. And Gordon, who had gone to Jamaica and did a degree in social work, came back with a whole set of ideas and then started to get his department running
Yes.
using volunteers and staff. And he sent his staff to be trained all as far as Israel, Egypt,
Wow.
Jamaica, all over the world. He was able to send people to be trained in the discipline called community development.
Okay.
So that was it was a blossoming time for youth development groups, cultural groups, sports groups, drama, dance, all kind of things between
That's the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
Got you.
No, 1976, the government changed. And the new government came in under Tom Adams. This is what I'm saying is this is an interpretation of what happened. But the gentleman called Alleyne was minister of it was housing, community development, I think, and sports. But I was working in the Ministry of Community Development then. But it had other things attached to it. And he said that any individual with the initials of DLP, whether it was the man named Douglas Leopold Phillips or anything else, that his relationship with the government was that those people should starve.
What?
Yes, and that recorded. I make up that's a recorded fact. No, there have been a lot of debate on whether or not he meant it literally or if it was a figure of speech and so on. But between, I can tell you this, between 19...
Tell me the name of the person again. I want to write that down. But who said
Lionel Craig? He was the minister, Lionel Seymour Craig.
Prague.
Said that if you had the initials DLP, that your expectation should be one of starvation.
Even though you're a Barbadian.
Yes. And they took that mantra with energy. So that, as I told you, I went into community development in 1979. 1981 was Carifesta. And also was a change of, it was the second term for the Barbados Labour Party. It was the second term. And between 1982 and 1984, the chief community development officer that I spoke about, Gordon Walters, was forced into retirement because Elton Ilombi Motley was brought from wherever he came from and made head of the same community development department under the guise of culture. He became
he's Mia Motley's
uncle.
So his uncle, okay, so his uncle, her uncle was brought in, and this other guy was forced into retirement.
Walter resigned because he turned up at Colonial Farm. I was working there.
Yes.
And when he turned up at Colonial Farm, the office that they put him was considered a cubby hole. And this man, Motley, had a big, broad office, and Gordon was asked to report to him. And Gordon said, no, I did not spend my life developing and building a development agency for me to report him. He took up his files and went home and retired out of the public service. Nobody can question me about that. I can call on several people still living who worked with me, including my boss, Albert Blackhead. He was my boss. He was my supervisor. All of us, within a year, had been either terminated or dispersed across the public service that worked with Mr. Gordon Walters. All of us were sent out to pasture or terminated, including me. I was terminated. I had just come back. I came back from my first phase in a diploma in youth and development at the Commonwealth program in Guyana. And when I got back, I was terminated.
Wow.
It didn't bother me because I went straight to university. But the point making is all of the people who had been trained in the discipline of community development were shattered out, thrown out, displaced. Were displaced.
So you're saying that
a whole set of untrained people when raid were brought in.
So I've been following what you're saying. This is all new to me. You're saying that Mr. Gordon Walters, when he came into that role, he took it so seriously that he sent people all over the world to be trained in community development. And between 1980 and 1984, all those programs were basically squashed, removed. He was forced into retirement. People like yourself, some of the people that were trained were terminated. And so what was the government putting in place now?
People being raped.
I got you. So they moved out their people, I'm following the story. So Mr. Prague says that the DLP, anybody with the DLP initials should starve. He said that in 1976, and by 1984, they started to terminate people. And they brought Ilombe Motley to basically, you're alleging to take this man's job. Wow, interesting.
No, he took it. And his presence then led to the formation of the NCF, the National Cultural Foundation, of which he was the first director. He was the first director. And the National Independent Festival of Creative Arts, NIFCA, was taken out of the Ministry of Education and I think it was Culture and placed under NCF. And it has never been the same since. Also dying, Community Development Department was closed from 1983 to 1986, and the staff were on special leave. We got to get honest and understand that this motley behavior is not new. It is not new, and Barbados, my age group, must be honest and speak out. Wow. So I'm saying that the department called Community Development was closed down and reopened with the change of government in 1986. But the damage had already been done. Staff gone all over the place. Some nincompoops bring on there with no idea of what community development was.
Because they weren't trained. They were
not trained. They were not trained.
Oh my gosh.
And all the activities, and I can tell you now, between about 1984, 83, 84, used to got something called street fairs all across Barbados. All across Barbados. Every little gap got a street fair. If you get stage, you pay for stage for NCF and some strong equipment, and you got effect. You got effect in the gap. And you bring in some entertainers and everybody happy. That was the new direction. What we say now is not new.
Wait. Listen. We gotta preserve this man here because you are spilling some. You're cooking tonight. So you're telling me this whole, this fetting. Everything is a fet. You're telling me that it all started from way back when Motley. So Motley was now in charge of the NCF?
Yes, I'm saying that.
So he started all them little fetting on every little corner is what was the culture that he was promoting?
It was called, everything was a street fair. It used to go street fairs every weekend. 2 and 3, 4 or 5 communities got a street fair with music and drinking and liming in the street every weekend. That was the new community development and the drive. That's what it was.
But how did that differ from what Gordon Walters was doing?
What Gordon Walters was driving died so that we had 125 youth groups in 1983, 84. By the end of the 90s, we only had about 30 or 40.
So what these 125 youth groups, what was the objective? Tell me about them.
No, they were all assigned, they were all members of the Barbados Youth Council.
Okay.
The Barbados Youth Council used to organize debates, drama, dance, cricket, football, inter-community activities We had the inter-center games. We had debates with the PTAs, the Anglican AYPs, Anglican Young People Associations, the Methodist Youth. All of them used to engage every week. Camps. We would go and visit a community and spend a weekend in camp. All of that died. All of that died for the expediency of facts. And the excuse was that Carifesta showed that we needed to have more music and more dance as expressions of Barbadianism. When we all that time we had really man the name Jackie Opal and Rudy Boyce and them, the Opals and all of them expressing Barbadian with names huge all across the island. But all of a sudden this was the new thing. And you know, you don't want to get personal, but it had nothing to do with the development of the communities. And I'm saying, and I've said this here before, that in the whole of that environment is when we saw the formation of, at that time it was blocks and then gangs, Cool and the gang. They had a whole set of gangs in Barbados that emerged out of that episode.
You're serious?
Yes. I wrote a paper on that already. The early gangs in Barbados. I know you want to remember it's Cool and the gang called them from what we mean. I wrote a paper on that and I would go and look for it and resubmit it. That was in the 80s. And I got good friends who were members of Cool and the gang, a Black Rock gang. And that came all to that period. So that when the government again changed in 1986, and the then government decided to try to change the focus, because don't people forget, in 1980, I can't remember, but there was this issue about Thompson after the government lost in 94 or 86. Between 86 and 94, when the government changed, the Barbados Youth Service was formed as a response to growing youth deviance in Barbados. The Youth Service was formed. And by 1994, when Morley became a Minister of Education and Youth Affairs in Barbados, the Youth Service took a negative turn again. And as I speak to you now, the emphasis on the Youth Service in Barbados now has declined to insignificance. And I said on 2 programs ago that the government of Barbados in 2016 started to build a home for the Youth Service. And as I speak to you in 2026, it is still not completed.
Oh, repeat that.
In 2016, the government of Barbados started the construction of a home for the Barbados Youth Service at Paragon.
Ah.
As I speak to you there in 2026, it is still incomplete.
And this is while she was this is underneath their administration.
Well, it started in 2016 with Stephen Lashley as the minister.
Yes.
And when the government changed in 2018, very little was done for 3 years. Then they spent about $100 and somebody $1,000 on cleaning up with the perimeter, because it had run to bush and thing. They went back and spent another few $100,000 again, repeating the same process. And as I speak to you there, it still is incomplete.
This is the one in St. Philip?
And no, Paragon there behind the airport.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My directions are not the best. Okay.
So I am saying, and I am speaking without any fear of any contradiction, without any fear of contradiction, that this closure of the constituency councils. The inattention to youth development, except to show a face by changing the name to Youth Advanced Corps or some rubbish. The refusal to send the officers in the Youth Affairs Department for training. Having hired a whole group of them last year, or maybe some of them last year and this year, without training, without adequate qualifications, but hire them as what they call now, youth commissioners. And I put my head on the block. That most of them are untrained and untrainable for the job of youth development. But they are hired to do the bidding of politicians. Because the criteria for selection was a letter from your MP.
Right. Okay.
And you have the university putting out last year 14 social workers with honors degree. Not one of them has been hired.
Wow. And how many of these that they what they call them? Tell me the name again.
Youth commissioners. And some of them getting as much as $4,500 a month. And then people want to know why the public service is miserable. People want to know why is the public service behaving so miserable. These wicked acts are being perpetrated in front of public officers who have given their lives for service. And last year they go and hire 30 people. The same first you got to recognize they sent the old ones to something called some family thing, some program, saying that they're too old to be youth commissioners. That again was discrimination on age.
On age.
Not a word from the unions or anybody. Not a word. Not a word from the disability or the gender affairs. Not a word. But they pick a whole set of people and send it to some family, something where they have no idea what they're going to do, and then brought on a whole set of youth commissioners now. No training, no qualifications. All it is to do political work for some lazy politicians. That's all it is.
Youth commissioners. Wow.
Yeah.
So they basically destroyed community participation.
Yes, this is a consistent Barbados Labour Party policy. They must have decision making right from the top. No grassroots organization structure or input. They must all accept what comes from the top and run with it. No questions asked. That is the problem.
Yes, because those youth groups, that's what when I wrote how many youth groups you guys have, it was decentralized. So all of that, the debates and the inter-community, debates, intercity, the games and all of that, it was decentralized, and they came in and made it centralized.
Yes.
What it seems.
I remember the community development used to go every summer, or I think it was Easter summer vacation. They used to take 20 and 30 people to Alleyne in the Caribbean, out to the community centers. Now, last year here, the minister said he's sending out a notice in the press to ask people to apply to be center managers. When communities are active, you don't need a center manager. You got enough groups actively involved in the community and using the centers, and those groups take responsibility for managing the center, keeping the keys and so on. When you got advertised for center managers, it's an admission that you are not doing community development.
Yeah,
it's an admission.
Look at this. Look at this picture, Dr. Alleyne. I hope I don't take you off your track. It says here, I'm seeing here the Barbados Youth Advanced Corps. This is them, and they're all in red.
Lord have mercy.
I thought this was something national.
When I was at youth service, I used to wear khaki.
Oh my God, this is crazy. Barbados stop and listen to. You all need to listen to this man. These are our elders that they don't want them to speak. I want you to pray for this man here, Derrick, Alleyne. They don't want him to speak, you know. They don't want him to. A lot of people don't want him to speak. But look at what he's showing us tonight. And look at this picture. This is the Barbados Youth Advanced Corps, and they're all in red. Why? And you said they used to wear khaki. Over to you, Dr. Alleyne.
Not blue and yellow or national colors, but khaki. They all wore khaki. And that is like the Army cadets colors. Because those are, they hide the dirt more and that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is an indoctrination program. You know, and this is a continuation of the paramountcy of the Barbados Labour Party as the holder of and the dissemination of all things through the Prime Minister of Barbados. If you walk about the parks in Barbados and every labor, you can find benches painted in red.
Yes.
This Hitler Stalinist approach to development has consumed Barbados Labour Party, and they're transcending their values, their beliefs onto the rest of Barbados, and they have targeted the young people.
This is powerful tonight. Guys, have you shared this live? This is powerful tonight. Our elder is teaching us tonight. Somebody said BLP propaganda. This is what the Chinese Red Party does. This is what they do, and we've been telling you. But let me shut up. Go ahead, Dr. Alleyne. I'm not talking anymore.
If I stop and ask a couple of questions.
Yes.
When is the building that's supposed to be the home of the Barbados, where they call it the Advanced something now, but I mean the Barbados Youth Service, when is it supposed to finish? I want that question answered. When is there going to be a connection between the youth service and the communities again? It used to be connected. It used to have to do community service. When is that going to happen? And finally, how are we going to get the young people in Barbados who are part of that program to relate to realize and experience working in the private sector? Those were the things that used to happen. Every member person that went into the youth service had two experiences: working in the private sector and working in the public sector. So they get an opportunity to experience both worlds. Nowadays, people either get so unqualified or so lazy that they can't get any attachments into the private sector. So all of them go and spend a month in the public sector at a department, get a stipend, and bingo, that's it. That's it. That's it. Wow. And then I walk around and I see these guys in the youth advanced outfits, the outfits, and they're walking 10 at this community center, 20 at the next community, 25 at the next community center. That is against the intent of the program. Excuse me.
Yeah.
The residential part of the program is critical for changing behavior. And if you don't have the residential program, you're defeating the nature and the intent of the program. You go through a whole exercise with these people with this youth advanced confusion, and there is no proper residential program where you can really deal with behavioral change, set new understanding for people why they are in this world, why they live in Barbados, how they can serve Barbados. You can't do that by in a classroom with 12 of them. You want all of them in a compound removed from the environments in which they live every day. And this government seems not to understand that. It is critical to the youth development program that the home at Paragon is completed and handed over to the department and the division so that it can engage the young people in meaningful behavioral change. Sorry.
Dr. Alleyne, somebody is saying here, just confirming you, and Anthony Oliver, is saying, what this man is saying is 1,000% truth. I was a member of a youth group in the parish of St. John. Anthony Oliver, you're asking, who is this gentleman? This is Dr. Alleyne, Derrick Alleyne, who was part of one of those that implemented and established, I believe, that youth, the youth, what do you call it again?
Youth service, the Barbados youth service.
Barbados. That's just one of the things, but continue. I just wanted to tell him that. Continue.
You see, there has to be an appreciation for the disciplines of youth and community development. I know it's still maybe people want to respect law and they want to respect economics and want to respect journalism. You got to respect youth and community development as disciplines. And the critical part is that those disciplines impact people's everyday living.
Mm-hmm.
They help people understand themselves, understand their roles, understand their mix in the community, their mix in family, in homes, the role of the church in their lives, the role of school in their lives. That is what youth and community development is about. But to not understand that and to determine that everything must come from the center and the government must put out what it wants and make all of the citizens, especially young people, follow a particular political dictate is the crux of the problems of the challenges facing Barbados. That party paramountcy and the image of a dictator in the person of Motley are the only important things in Barbados. That is the problems.
Woo! Dr. Alleyne, oh my God. This is, I know for you might be ordinary information. This is amazing for me because now I understand. And when I'm gonna call you after the show tomorrow or so, I want to understand it properly, ask all my questions, because this is the way of the NCF came to be.
Right.
That boggles my mind, and the whole centralizing of everything. And I can, while you were talking about those youth groups, Dr. Alleyne, I could actually see it happening in the communities. You see, I could see what you're talking about.
No,
go right
ahead. Every community, I can tell you, St. Joseph, St. George. I ain't got my like I have the list of community groups and cricket clubs, football clubs in a document that I did for the Commonwealth program when I did my dissertation in my diploma program. And the thesis of my program was the decline of youth groups in Barbados. That was 1983-84. I wrote that for my thesis to graduate from the Commonwealth Youth Program, the decline of youth groups in Barbados, 1983-84.
Yes.
So I know what I'm speaking about.
So that's why we're reaping what we sowed.
Exactly.
What we sowed. Guys, listen to the man. We're reaping what we sowed. Wow.
Look, and the other area I want to speak to now is the role of vocational training. Now, we had I think it was 6 male secondary schools, and I think 7 female or vice versa, but there were no more than 14 of the older secondary schools, the foundations, the Harrison College, Alleyne's, and Lodge, and them. And the majority of the other people that went to the St. Leonard's and Parkinson and Princess Margaret and so on, some of them went on to do academics, but a lot of them went into the Polytechnic, and even some at Commonwealth and Foundation and Lodge and things went to the Polytechnic.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 1980s, the same Gordon Walters wrote a paper on skills training. He came back from Jamaica, he went to a vocational training session down there, he came back and he wrote a concept paper for the ministry. D. Bradshaw was the minister. Bradshaw was the minister on the concept of skills training development. And the skills training department was started, I think, about 1984, around there. They speak under correction because he had gone, but he wrote the concept paper. P.S. Rogers met with all the staff and we had a big discussion at the Caribbean Hotel, I don't forget. And it was this thing what he did about building out skills training centers and so on. At that time, there was a department called United Nations Fund for Population Activities, UNFPA, sponsored by the United Nations for controlling the population in Barbados, but it did a lot of social and community development work. And they also participate in the outreach program to get young people involved in skills training. And I had a guy named Trevor Batson who should do screen art printing. And he prepared the t-shirts and those things to go across Barbados and to build out this thing about family planning, but also about building skills development for young people.
Yes.
So that they will have something other than the academic strain. And the skills training department was formed. And then it changed its name to the Vocational Training Board. I can't remember how that name was changed. But the general point is, as I speak to you, not sufficient emphasis is being placed on modernizing the Vocational Training Board. Not only in terms of bringing on new technologies, new equipment, and new programs, but on the treatment of the staff. When that program was started, most of those people were considered as somebody called instructors who would come and do sessional things at $14 an hour or $12 an hour. And they would work and accumulate, let's say, 30 hours and get paid for those 30 hours, not on staff, but most of them were temporary. After a while, they had to put them on staff because if you put a man temporary and he's a carpenter and he got a house to build, he's going to build the house because it's more lucrative. So over time, they started to hire them and put them on staff as instructors. As I speak to you now, you have instructors and senior instructors at the Vocational Training Board who got bachelor's and master's degrees, but they're still trying to pay them the same old way. Those are reforms that are required if you are going to deal with youth development. All programs that attack the challenges facing young people and attach young people's development to a particular direction need to be reformed. And the Vocational Training Board is begging for reform. And they walking about them paying a lot of washing money to consultants to do absolutely nothing. They make no apologies for that. Those areas sent to the Vocational Training Board need to get modern. You can't be teaching plumbing, textiles, and the same old way. You want utter this and utter that. You want new equipment, new modern equipment. It needs to be attached to the polytechnic. So you can move from Vocational Training Board into the polytechnic after doing X amount of course or X amount of hours with basic studies like math, and I mean by arithmetic. And because you're into drawing, you gotta understand drawing. So you can teach technical drawing and arithmetic. You don't gotta do a whole mathematics course. But things that relate to the trades and the crafts that the people can use, basic communication skills.
Excellent.
Including, yes. But they're playing around and talking and doing absolutely nothing to advance the lives of working class people in Barbados. And they're getting sick and tired of them. And the only way that Barbados is going to change if Barbados begin to question this government about the direction in which it's taking Barbados. Because we're going nowhere and we're paying a lot of money for going nowhere.
Yeah, wow. You know, boy, I want this is so amazing, folks. Really it is. And so many things going through my mind. I am thinking about the program that we've started right here on the loyal opposition called Elevate. And I'm going to talk to you about that off air because I can see how you with your knowledge, you might be able to help us to structure it. We wanted to go out to all the parishes where children are learning to read in the communities. Young people learn how to do, a resume and, write a letter, job letter, and all of that. We started that with Rose Corbin and Sonia and, some of the others. And no, we're taking that across. We're going to take it across the island. And I'll talk to you about that. But somebody just sent me something here, Dr. Alleyne. And I'm going to read it for you. And I'm asking you, I'm going to have to ask you for 7 minutes to talk about something about St. Michael. Audience, I know you don't want him to stop, but I need 7 minutes of his time.
I will listen. No, I can come. I can listen.
This is now you're the elder speaking, so it's now your time. But listen, somebody wrote, and this to me said, I've seen a member of the PLP. Okay, this is what they saw, who is involved with the Youth Advance Corps, formerly the Youth Service, bring a busload of these young people to an AGM of a credit union to vote for known member of the BLP who was running for a position on the executive of the credit union. Is this true? And then the person says, wondering, I wonder if the young people are serious about credit unions or if they were being exploited, because you've seen them all there in red. It is a fair question, right?
Listen to me. That is again old ploy. When the Barbados Labour Party lost its second election, I think it was the 70, either the 71 or the 86 election on them. There was a report called the Mosey Report that mandated that all of the Barbados Labour Party's members and supporters infiltrate institutions around Barbados. Go and infiltrate them and spread the gospel of the Barbados Labour Party.
Wow.
I am a member of the National Union of Public Workers, Retirees Committee. I am also a member of the Public Service Credit Union. And I am telling you, both of those elections are influenced by the involvement of the Barbados Labour Party. Both of them. Both of them, and then nobody can question me on that. I am telling you that without fear contradiction. Both of them. I was at Sir Lloyd Standiford a few years back when we were trying to get our union started with a gentleman who was running it as though it was his little business, and a whole set of young people turned up off of this dust program, said that they were sent to vote for the man.
Wow.
They went and joined the NUPW the week in front, and turn up at Lloyd Erskine Standiford Complex to vote. They did not recognize that although they went and paid their dues, that they had to be ratified by the councils of the party as members. But they turned up to vote.
Oh, wow.
I have been at Lloyd Standiford at a credit union conference, and they turn up in their red shirts. They also try to infiltrate the one in town, City of Bridgetown. This is nothing. That's no secret. That is part of the Barbados Labour Party agenda. You think that the BUWU and the BUT and the Barbados National Public Workers are dominated by people outside that crowd? All of them dominated by the Reds. All of them. All of them. And then people tell me why the other party can't do that. That is what not parties are not about that. Parties are not supposed to be doing that.
My God. Well, listen, I thank God that you have a space here, Dr. Alleyne. You have a space here.
I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
Yes, I am grateful. I get to learn, and the people are getting to learn, and that is our problem. The elders, she has to contend with the seniors in this country. Mia Motley has to contend with the seniors because they know the history. They know what is supposed to happen. But give me, I'm begging you about 7 minutes of your time, and you can jump in on this at the end.
No, take your time. Take your time. I'm going over here. Take your time.
Yes, I just want to pause people. I pause Dr. Alleyne a bit here, and we're going to talk about the St. Michael's Secondary School, talking about governance, process, and accountability. Some of what Dr. Alleyne in is one of the nights he was talking about process for public workers and how they are promoted and fired and all of these kinds of different things. Okay, so let me just jump into this really quickly. As much as I want to listen to him, I think it's important that we do this. So as we look at this St. Michael's Secondary School, which a school that I love, my eldest child went to St. Michael's Secondary School. Before I start, I want to make it clear that whatever I'm going to talk about right now, I'm talking about reports and allegations. But I think that they are so important. Okay, I think that they are too. It's too important for us not to deal with it at this time. Don't leave. Dr. Alleyne is coming back. Okay. So these reports and allegations are being brought to us by individuals who claim to be close to the situation. We're not making these findings fact. We're asking questions. Is that okay? We're asking some questions, and we're doing so in the public interest. And I just want to be calm about this, because these are some very serious reports and serious allegations. The concerns being raised are serious, and they are not isolated. What we're hearing, it's about growing reports of growing unease around governance and administrative culture within the institution. And we want to bring it to you because just in case, if it's not true, St. Michael's School need to come out and with a statement, okay? Go to traditional media. You don't have to call me. If you want to call me, 236-7000. But it is too important. Our children, this is an institution where you send your children to learn. And if we're having problems with the administration, then there's a problem. Questions are being asked about how decisions are being made, how financial matters are being handled at SMS, and whether proper procedures are being followed. There are also claims that certain projects or financial matters may have proceeded without full visibility at key administrative levels. We're also hearing about a senior administrative officer. This person is responsible for oversight of a particular area who has been suspended. I don't want to give too much away, but this particular person has been suspended, and that suspension is now raising questions. And I would love for Dr. Alleyne to comment on this. There are questions about process, St. Michael's School. Listen, if you're watching, listen. Or those of you want to take back what I'm saying, I'm asking questions about process, about fairness, about due process. There are established rules that govern how public officers are to be treated when allegations are made against them. We've heard them from Caswell Franklin. We heard them from the same Mr. Alleyne, who was on here a couple weeks ago. From what we understand, when a report is being made against an employee, and I read the law today, I could have read it wrong. Somebody can correct me. But when a report is made against an employee, an investigation is expected within a defined period, often within days. A written report is required after that investigation. then the employee must be informed. The employer must be given access to the evidence being used. I read, that's what's in the document I read on in the law today. There are also limits on the types of penalties and the duration of action such as suspension. And importantly, the employee has the right to seek a review, and then that review must happen within a defined time frame. So tonight, we're asking a simple question. Was that process followed at St. Michael's School with this particular administrative officer? Was there an investigation within the required time? Was a written report prepared? Was the officer given the documentary evidence? Was the suspension handled within the proper limits? Please come out and let us know. Because all that, what's going to happen is that we are going to continue to speculate. Because if the answer to those questions is no, then we are not dealing with a misunderstanding. We are dealing with a possible failure of process. But before I close, it doesn't just stop there, Barbadians. And please listen, it matters. This matters because we saw it happen with the fire service. You remember? We saw that this happened with the fire service. There are also concerns being raised about the internal work environment. We're hearing reports of staff feeling targeted, sidelined, and some cases afraid. Isn't this like a broken record throughout the public sector? We're hearing that changes to internal processes, including leave approvals and some, administrative controls, may be creating a more rigid and pressured environment in the school. There are even claims that decision-making authority seem to be becoming more concentrated than is typically expected within a public institution. And hint, even at that point, we're hearing that some of the high officials in there are very strongly connected to the Prime Minister, very strongly connected to the Attorney General. If these concerns are not accurate, St. Michael Secondary School, they should be clearly addressed. It's not, this is not about this one school. We're raising wider questions about the public service culture in Barbados. I want Dr. Alleyne to really step in and say something about this. We're talking about the public service culture in Barbados. I sit here and I hear this all the time. All the time. What happens to people who speak up? What happens to the officers who raise concerns? Are they protected in the public service or are they isolated? And I'm telling you, as long as I sit in this chair here, I will ask the questions on their behalf. Who are they going to turn to? Where is the media? Thank God for that blog overseas as well. I won't call any names. When people are afraid to speak, something is wrong. Something is wrong. So we're inviting a response. We invite the leadership of St. Michael's Secondary School. We invite the Ministry of Education. We invite any relevant authority to clarify these matters publicly. Because if what is being said is not true, if what is being said is not true, then I will correct it. But if it is true, then we're looking at something that requires serious attention. We're getting reports that some people at the very high level, all of a sudden, this school is connected with this motley administration. It's not just about administration. It's about trust. It's about accountability. That's the word we use all the time. And I'm concerned for the public sector workers. They feel they have nowhere to turn. Too much victimization of people in this country because they speak up and take a different stance from those above them. Is that what's happening at St. Michael's School? This is about the environment in which our teachers and staff are expected to work at this distinguished institution. Barbados deserve answers. These are hard questions tonight. And it's very important that they I tell you, somebody said going on for a long time. Dr. Alleyne, I don't know if you were listening, but some of the points you were making about the public sector workers and how they're treated and promotion and all of that, you know, the atmosphere. I get too many reports, Dr. Alleyne. Let me turn over to you.
Marcia, the truth is that I am a member of a public service union, and I hold my membership very, very dear. I've been a member since 1971, when you automatically join the union. Once you join the public sector, you were given a form and said, sign this, and you signed it, and you didn't ask why. It was just part of being a member of a very, very sophisticated institution called the Civil Service Association, later became the National Union of Public Workers. I'm a proud member, and I've left the service, and I still stay on as a retired member, and I turn up to all the meetings every month that we have a meeting. I go, but I will agree and admit that the grievance handling procedure in the public service is not being followed. And that is what the challenge really is. And I do not know the specifics of the St. Michael case, and I got to be careful again because I am a member of the Queen's College Board, and I know that we follow all the procedures to the letter of the law. I don't know the specifics of St. Michael, but the grievance procedure is very clear. And if there's a union involved, the union must be informed. And then there's a process outlined not only for unions, not only for schools and workplaces and Barbados. It's a general grievance handling procedure that's being across the Commonwealth, handed out by the International Labour Officer as a sort of base from which you operate. Is that the worker must be informed of any charges of misconduct. He must be given a hearing. You have the right to have a representative, a friend, a trade union representative, or a lawyer. Those are basic things. And he must be given the charges that are affiliated so that he can review them and have a response to them. So I don't understand why there should be any fight over what the procedure is. The Public Service Act is very clear. There's also a procedure in the teachers' legislation as well. I don't have my copy here in front of me, but there's a procedure in dealing with grievances at schools. So I don't know what the issue is, and I don't have the specifics, so I cannot give.
Well, that's why I'm saying to St. Michael. There's somebody says it's the what somebody said it's pardon me, the St. Michael School. Okay, well, we have the picture there, and the name is right there. Okay, so if I say it is a secondary school, all right, but it's the St. Michael's School. Okay, the St. Michael's School, and that's why I gave my number, and I said it's 2367000, and asked the St. Michael's School to reach out to the media, because this is not, I'm not just the only person carrying this. And when people start to do that, Dr. Alleyne, they're reaching out and they need people to hear their story. It's because they realize they can't get any help from any union. They can't help. They're trying to help themselves. They're trying to get information out. And sometimes in doing that, they might misunderstand something, or it might be not reported well, you see. And that's why this St. Michael's School needs to come out and to say something about this publicly, please. People need to understand exactly what is going on. And this is a call for the school these are just allegations. I don't know. I'm not putting these things out as facts. I'm saying that these allegations, they seem to be very regular in the public sector. Okay, in the public sector, not necessarily at the St. Michael's School. Yes, go ahead.
No, I know, because I mean I said I'm on a board. We try to deal with our matters so that they don't get out of hand, and we have a very strict determination about what we do. We are very clear about it. We follow the rules. The person has a grievance, and they are informed of the concern, and if it's a minor one, we try to deal with it expeditiously. If it's a major one, then the person is given time to respond and then bring in the unions. And we don't have a lot of that, to be honest with you, since I've been there. But we've had a few issues that we've had to deal with. But generally, in the public service, and I say this here, even though I'm a member of the union, that I don't think our unions are doing enough underground work, going into the workplaces and staying on top of the atmospheres and the environment in which our workers are now being employed. And therefore, sometimes the issues get out of hand. And because workers are intimidated and afraid to complain, a lot of exploitation will take place.
Yeah.
You need to get back on the ground, going into the workplaces, and to make sure that they have one-on-ones with the workers. They can just go to do a visit to make sure that the health and safety conditions are in place. They don't have to go to deal with grievances. They have a right as unions to go and check sure that the that the environment is safe and healthy. And when they do those things, then they encounter workers who will quietly tell them we need to discuss a particular environment, a particular grievance or something like that. But that is my concern.
Yeah, I won't take you off track. We have 8 minutes, so that is what I had to say that, because it has to do with just my pet peeve about public sector workers, and I just wanted to share that and to ask St. Michael, this St. Michael School, to respond. Okay, but go right ahead, Dr. Alleyne.
No,
what you were talking about before.
No, I just can close off in about 5 minutes by making a general few points, because somebody may want to ask a question. But I want to alert Barbadians to the reality of the new Barbados, where decisions are made top down, and that even at the highest level of the public administration hierarchy, at the level of permanent secretary, of the level of head of departments, people are being stifled. Those people are being stifled, and their authority questioned and jettisoned by the appointment of people called consultants and influencers that render their decision making, that render the heads of departments and the permanent secretary decision I don't want to be nasty, challengeable. Then they can get challenged by these influencers and these consultants, when the responsibility for the administration, let's say, of the Ministry of Housing is the responsibility of the permanent secretary. Very often those people are placed as respondents to decisions made at the top, and those permanent secretaries and heads of departments find it difficult to challenge those decisions. I speak guardedly because I don't want to let anybody believe that anybody came complaining to me. I speak in, although with information, I speak in not to put any individual or individuals under the radar, because the amount of unfairness, victimization, and spite that govern the management within this government frightens even people who don't even work there, who are not in politics.
It's true.
No. Well, you understand it, you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel it. You mean you question something a minister does, and then a few bulldogs are thrown at you.
Yes.
To call you the worst names and to go up on your page and say all kinds of things about you.
Mm-hmm. They're doing it to me right now as you speak on Facebook, because I'm questioning Chad Blackman about Vaughan School that has no internet or phone. All right, I'm speaking up on behalf of the children and the teachers and the parents, and you believe they're cursing me right now on Facebook, all because I'm asking questions.
Look, Marsha, let me advise you. You see the guy you call Blackman, Minister Blackman, just ignore him. No, you do yourself a comfort. Just ignore him. He will fall on his own weight, and he big and heavy. He will fall on his own weight. There's this perception about his ability and his controls and his this and his savviness and but listen, trust me, I've listened to him. Just ignore him. Shortly, he will be transferred. There will be another shuffle inside there, because right now we got about half a dozen ministers. All of them are confused about what their role is, how they should interrelate on terms of getting social policy, because you can't separate education from culture, separate it from community development and so on. And there really needs to be an interdepartmental committee that creates a continuous flow of information across those ministries, so that one feeds the others and helps the others and so on. But that doesn't happen. Each of them is a lord unto themselves until they face Miss McGuffey. Once they face Miss McGuffey, they're all humble, but they treat the others, each other, with disrespect.
Yes.
Until they meet Miss McGuffey. And whoever they feel Miss McGuffey favors, they will stay quiet. But if you are not part of Miss McGuffey in your team, God help you.
Yes.
This is the nature of the political directory that we have. There's out on the face of it. Oh, they have a party doing 30 seats, the government doing this, the government doing that. But collectively, they are all about saving face and bowing down to Miss McGuffey.
Yes. As somebody says, Carol is saying, once again, the Barbadian electorate has opted for political dictatorship. They have themselves to blame. This happens when you did not elect an opposition. Lord have mercy on your souls. It's our souls. But go ahead. That's a viewer wrote that. Go ahead. We have 2 minutes. So continue until we end.
No, right. So I am saying is that the best model for countries caught in that trap we are in the moral decline, ethical decay, the way to go forward is to put more emphasis on our communities, our schools, our churches, build a relationship between those institutions at the community level so that they can engage young people in worthwhile activities.
Mm-hmm.
Our churches stand ready. I went to a service last Sunday I think it was the church there in uh, the one where Holmes Village used to be. Keep forgetting that.
People's Cathedral.
Right. And the senior pastor did an excellent job of challenges facing young children in Barbados. And I really want to commend her. I don't recall her name, but she was excellent. And I came home with a lot of thoughts in my head about how I can reach out to the primary schools in my community and see how I can go in and mentor some of the young ones.
Wow, excellent.
And I
Yes.
thank her for that reminder that they have a role. But the government needs to reach out. And I don't know if this government has the ethical capacity to ask people to do anything now. But the institutions need to hold each other's hands at the community level and find ways to engage our children in wholesome activities, work to get our little brownies and our cubs and scouts and so on. No, we may never get the 50 and 60s that we had, but at 5 or 6, we start there.
Yes.
And we move them together. We need to get our little community groups playing cricket and football and hockey and volleyball and so on, so that the children are too busy to get involved in activities that are unwholesome.
Correct.
Every little thing. All those people who can teach lessons in arithmetic, in English, and about Christian values, to read the Bible, to understand the scriptures, on do 3 children, do 4 children, do little things. They all add up.
Yes, sir.
And bring direction to this country, because the government's focus is on dictating from the top down. We need to fight that. We're working in our communities to help each other, help all the families, and all the groups. That is why I leave with you.
Thank you so much. And that's really the essence of Elevate. Elevate Barbados. Elevate in every parish. We have it. We're getting it in St. Philip, at St. John's, at Jones Village Church. The pastors there are doing that there and looking for those who can teach, can help to teach our young people there. And that was just how we just walked down the road, and when Dave and I put on our clothes, walked down the road, just like what Dr. Alleyne is saying, and just asked the pastor. And they said yes, and they've taken the program. We're just facilitating. We're not running the program. They are. And that's wonderful, So those of you, if you want to help to volunteer on that program, you're in St. Philip, you're in St. George, Christchurch, close areas, give 1 hour of your time a week. That would be wonderful. We're starting the one in St. Michael. It's going to be at Colamarock. Upper Colamarock, right beside Guardian there, Praise Academy of Dance, will have the St. Michael Elevate. And that's going to be Saturdays at 9 a.m. Can you give 1 hour of your time? Are you in St. Michael or in the surrounding areas? And he said, Marcia, I want to help those children. 1 hour. I don't have to know, geometry and all of that. I just need to be able to help with arithmetic. And I can help with reading. And I can help with with helping somebody
spelling.
Spelling. Thank you. Anything like that, it doesn't have to be this grand thing. When they want to be able to spell and to count and write, they can write their names properly. And when they leave, they can, the older ones can fill out an application. Dave, I know we've had people come here and they want us, help me. You finish high school, secondary school, and they can't fill out an application. Dr. Alleyne.
That's so, why I must say I have some problems with some of the application forms too.
So all the things that they're asking for, right? So then you help them as well. Okay, we're starting in St. Philip on June 4th. It's going to start in St. Philip. Okay, and we'll tell you more about when the one in St. Michael is going to get started. All righty, God bless you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Alleyne, so very much. This has been so insightful. Thank you, I appreciate it. God bless you.
All right, good night all. Good night all.
Yes, thank you. And we want to say thanks to attorney at law who was on this evening. And Dave, why is the name is completely, let me get back to my notes. Attorney at law, Corey Beckles. Corey Beckles, seems so long ago. Boy, the night has been a long one. Corey Beckles, thank you for coming on. That was very informative, very, very informative. Thank you so much. And we are again next Monday. We're going to be here again. If I'm hoping that Corey Beckles can join us again. Dr. Alleyne, God willing, will be with us again next Monday night. As we continue to push and to educate, to motivate, to mobilize, to agitate. So speaking of agitation, look out for St. Peter protest march is coming to a place near you. It's coming up very soon. Listen out for that and come and participate in that as we walk to ensure our beach access, that they don't move on us on our beach access. Okay, so just wanting everybody to know that is coming up. God bless you all, and you have a wonderful night.
He supports to stand strong again, but cannot depend on his kid. Failure